Hi everyone, welcome. I am Kim Biegler, the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am sitting here in the wool mill today. And let's see if I can get this. I don't know. See if I can get my screen where I want it to be. Who knows? Okay, hi everyone, welcome. If you are new, I talk a lot about wool and hand spinning and yarn and knitting and farm life and all those things. If you're coming back, welcome. Welcome back. Glad to see you again. It's been another week. Can you believe it? I would show you Wish, the mill cat, but she's very busy grooming herself, so we'll leave her to that. I'm sure she'll be on my lap here in no time. Okay, this episode, I have got a fair amount of spinning talk, hand spinning, knitting, including a new cast on that I blame on my Patreon people. I'm glad we're always there to inspire. And some current spinning projects. Here she is. You ready, Wishy? She's like, there she is. She is the most tolerant cat of me ever. And what else do I have? Oh, I have videos from inside the mill, just a couple of videos, more to come next week. And I have a skirting video because I wasn't gonna have it in this one. And then I was like, this morning I ran out and skirted one of the fleeces. So I've got a skirting video of one of the Shetlands, so you can see, kind of get a peek inside one of those gigantic fleeces. Okay, let's just start right out. Works in progress. So let me show you, let's do some knitting talk first. I tried this on last night. I'll post the picture that we took, where I tried desperately not to have a belly button because I was to show a belly button. So I was too lazy to, you guys, okay. I'm going to tell you what not to do here as I untangle all my yarn. Okay, here we go. Here is my, okay, let's just put the bag on my lap, Kim. Calliope. Here it is. You can see there's yarn everywhere. Yarn everywhere, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, and my little stitch saver is trying to pop off. Don't do that. I didn't put it on very well last night after it was like a whole ordeal to try this on so that I could see what I was going to do with my sleeves. Okay, here we are. Calliope. So I have got, I think, 6 inches of both of my sleeves done here. The pattern calls for doing 7 inches, and then you start on the ribbing. She's kneading on my pants. Then you start on the ribbing, and it's a very long stretch of ribbing for the sleeves. And in theory, I have only decreased twice on the sleeves, but I tried it on, and you'll see in the picture, my sleeves aren't super loose because I think I knitted the size 1. So because I didn't want a really, really loose sweater. So the question becomes, do I decrease 1 or 2 times more and make a tighter cuff? And I can show you a picture. Or do I just go with the flow? And I was thinking about doing a 3/4 sleeve, and I'll show you why. If you have not seen this pattern, let me show you a picture of it on a person. It's not gonna be the greatest picture because it's black and white. You can see here, the sleeves are pretty loose, and people agreed that it will get caught up on stuff, right? Like when you wear sleeves like that, a lot of times they get caught up on the door handle. They get caught up on everything. I don't know which way I'm going, you all. It's gonna be a game time decision when I sit back down because I tend to not wear my hand knits when I'm at work because I don't want to destroy them. So I wear them when I'm gonna put less wear into them for the most part. We'll see what I'm gonna do. Here's what I wanted to tell you not to do. So I want you to note that I am knitting. This is per Christine. This was Christine's idea in our Ravelry thread for this knit along. I ran out of yarn on the body, or I finished the skeins I was working on. So I picked up my sleeves. There goes my bag. Picked up my sleeves. Sorry, you all. We're a hot mess up in here. Wish is on my lap. Okay. I picked up my sleeves, both 2 at a time. I'm doing double points because I decided I did not like my sleeves when I use, now she's trying to attack my yarn, when I do magic loop. I just don't like them. So this is all fine and dandy. What I didn't do was I went to pick up, and I should have split the yarn in half, right? I should have done separate bowls for each sleeve, but did I? No. I was like, ugh, I'm already in my chair and I don't want to get up and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm working from both ends of the yarn. And let me tell you what, it can be a bit much. It actually isn't bad, except for tonight when I go to deal with this, because I pulled it out and was not mindful about how I was pulling it out. But just to be clear, what I mean by working from both ends is one sleeve I am knitting from the outside. One sleeve I'm knitting from the yarn coming out, and one sleeve I'm knitting from the in. Now, if this was just one skein of yarn, it would be less yarny mess. But because I'm holding it with the mohair, which means every time I flip, I have to reorganize both. Not my brightest moment, but we're in it. We're in it to win it. So technically there's only about 2 weeks left of this knit along. If you wanted to try to make it to the deadline, I think I can do it, because I only have a couple inches left on the body. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, there's my Calliope progress. Feel free to comment with your, gosh, Kim, why did you do that with your yarn? Or what you think about my sleeves. I would love to hear. Everybody in the Ravelry thread has done something different. So if you are thinking about doing a sweater, go check out the Ravelry feed. Okay, I cast on a new project, small. You all, if you've known me long enough, you know that a sock knitter I am not. Not that I can't knit socks, but generally speaking, I start one and maybe I'll finish that one, but I'm probably not gonna finish the second one. But in my heart of hearts, I wanna be a sock knitter. So we were on a Patreon Zoom. My Patreon is super fun. There's lots of good stuff in there, including hand spinning Q&As coming up starting in March. So if you're not in there, that's gonna be an addition at just $5 a month. So I can help people learn or get over whatever hump they're having in spinning. Here's our sock cast on. Guys, I have a lot of socks situation to talk about here, but cast on. So let me tell you why I'm doing this. The main reason is I have never knit a Stephen West pattern. And everybody talks about how wonderful his instructions are, his tutorials, all that stuff. So I said, you know what, it's time. So this is his sock knit along from last year. It's the Contrast Blast socks. So I have another, and I actually was able to stash dive. I don't have a lot of fingering weight commercially spun yarn, and I needed 2 colors. So I actually found, this is Candy Skein that I got several years ago when I did a trunk show there. She's in Astoria. There's a yarn shop in Astoria, and she sells her yarn and other yarns. Anyway, this is the pumpkin spice, and I have another one that will contrast with it, and it's white with speckles of this and some blues. So I hit the play button on the tutorial, even though obviously I know how to knit to purl to start this, but I still just wanted to, game over, man. He's such a good teacher. I hope that my students that take my online course feel the same way about how well things are explained and reiterating the things that need reiterating and not stressing about the things that don't need stressing. Anyway, so here we are. For this one, guess what? I'm doing 2 at a time, but I made 2 balls. Lesson learned, lesson learned. I have done 2 balls in the past. Why did I not? Whatever. As I said, we're in it to win it. So there is my Stephen West Contrast Blast socks. We're gonna finish these. We're gonna finish these, if for no reason than to get through and learn some stuff from Stephen West. I have more sock talk, but do we talk about spinning? Yeah, yes, okay. Let's just talk about spinning. You guys, we might jump around a little bit this time. Sorry, I tried to have a flow, but there may not be a flow this time. Okay, spinning. So I have some videos actually that I can insert here. We'll break up the videos. What the heck, let's go crazy. So one of them is a new, very quick spinning project that I start, and I talked to you about why in the video. And then the next one is the project that I started with you all with the die top, and you can go back a couple episodes to find where I started this. I have a bobbin of the blue spun, and I have a bobbin of the multicolored braid spun, and I'm like, what do I do now? So why don't we cut to those? And if you're not a hand spinner and you could care less, jump forward. But I warn you, you will be missing out on what could be the dive for you into hand spinning, because a lot of people in my world say they are never going to spin, and then they are in my world long enough and now they're hand spinners. So maybe don't jump if you're intrigued by hand spinning, yarn making, colors, all those things. So let's jump to those. I'll be back and then we'll carry on. All right, you all, so let's talk spinning. So I am in my craft room at home and I am sitting, I've got my Magic Craft rose here, and I needed a little quick spin, like just a feel good spin, because I just finished up Moira Rose, her whole lamb fleece, and I'm getting ready to start another full fleece on my other wheel. And I really want to start spinning some cotton. So I wanted something extra fun and just quick in between before starting the cotton. So let me walk you over. That's probably easier. I have got going here, I think this is East Frisian. And this is, I'll just show you the ball here. It's kind of a salmon color. It's not showing up that well because I've got an orange blanket on the bed next to my wheel. But I am just doing this as a single because I am not a great single spinner. So I wanted to show you, for me, what that meant. Making the adjustments on my wheel to spin. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a sport weight to probably a sport weight single. And I've already started it, but what I did to my wheel. So I increased the drive band. I went up sizes on my whirl because I want less twist. So when you're doing a single, you want a little more twist than you might otherwise put into a yarn that you're going to ply, because when you ply, you take a little bit of twist out. But because you're not going to take a little bit of twist out on a single because you're not going to apply it, you want to make sure you have enough twist that it stays together, but not too much that it would be normally twist that you would take out. Because if you have too much, it's just going to coil all back on itself and make a big mess. So for me, what I'm doing is I am going up to a larger size whirl, which means the twist is going to go in slower. And I did that just so I could have good control over the twist. And then I also increased the tension a little bit because I wanted a heavier weight yarn. So you increase the tension so that the fiber is being taken away from you faster. Fiber being taken away faster means you will get a heavier weight yarn. I don't want to put twist in it super fast because it's slightly heavier weight. It's heavier weight for sure than I would normally spin as a single. So I'm going to set my wheel up here, and I hope that all made sense. You can complete, I think this is one of the things, it's one of the things I try to teach my beginners, but when you're learning, like all those things, like you take them in and then they can be quickly gone. And you can always, if you've gone through my online course, you can always rewind and go back to some of the basics of understanding your wheel once you've got the basics of yarn making. So I have got my drive band set up, and now I was just going to do a little spinning for you so you could see, because what I'm doing, see where you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing here. What I'm doing is I am holding onto the fiber for an extra second or so. And of course who knows why I do not have an orifice hook in my craft room. I mean, I do, obviously, but goodness knows where it is. So I have orifice hooks all over the house where there's no wheel. Okay, so luckily on the Magic Craft, it's pretty easy to thread without one. And you can see this fiber really wants to, it actually just felted around my finger. Okay, so what I'm doing here, and obviously this is what is gonna work. Ooh, my drive band slipped a little bit onto the, on the Magic Craft, your wheel has 5 different grooves on it for sizing, and then you also have a couple different sizes. Basically, my point is you got a lot of sizes. So what I'm going to do here is connect. And for me, what I do is I'm spinning this long draw. So I go back, and it's so easy. You get in a rhythm. And it's so easy, and I hope you can see. I'll go a little bit shorter. But because I'm adding twists very slowly, not very slowly, but slower, because of where I have that drive band set. So what I do is I kind of pull back and then I just wait for an extra second before I let the yarn get taken in, just so I can continue to build up a little bit of twist. I think this is East Frisian, not super long. So while I'm doing a heavier yarn, which means less twist, right? I also don't want too much twist. So don't want too little, don't want too much, because those fibers aren't that long. So if I go too little, it's just gonna break on me. And that's not gonna make a great single. So I'm just, and I'm kind of just treadling at my normal pace, but with the twist going in slower, it just feels to me like I have more control to make this single that I want. And so I'm just going back, and then I'll stop for a sec, let a little more twist build in, and then let it take it up. So I could make other adjustments to my wheel. I could put the twist in faster and not have to hold on that extra second before I let the yarn take up, but this is just working for me. I am not, I don't spin singles. I mean, I spin singles. I don't leave them as singles very long. So anyway, here we are. And then what I did when I was kind of making sure I was happy with where I'm at is stopped, pulled some off, and then looked at it and was like, yeah, that's going to stay together. Everything's looking good. I think it's going to make, it's going to have some ply back to it, obviously. But once I soak it, and sometimes when I'm doing singles, I will weight them. This is the one time I would potentially weight yarn, depending on how much twist there is in it after I soak it. If it's too much, and I'll show you when I get there, it won't take me, I think this was 4 or 5 ounces, and I had this ball of roving sitting in the mill. I don't think it ever was online because it was like a one-off color. And nobody ever bought it, so sometimes I just say, fine, you're beautiful and you're coming home with me. So, and I thought this would be a really pretty color to maybe hold a mohair with. And singles, I'll probably do something in the round with it, because when you knit in the round with a single, it just helps to balance out that yarn a bit more that you didn't ply. So that's all there is to that. I just wanted to show you kind of how I was doing this, and I'll pop in and you can see, hopefully you can kind of see, it's a little bit, the color's a little wonky in here because my window's right there, but that's kind of what the adjustments I made to my wheel to spin this single and to make it relaxing for me still, but fun and quick. Okay, let's move on to more spinning. So I was just sitting here playing with some spinning, and I had showed you all this project a while back. So I have a bobbin spun of, oops, I have it stuck on the tension, this kind of variegated tonal blue color that I spun up out of a braid. And then I have the multicolored, it was kind of a rusty and a brown, and then it had a blue in there. And once I started to spin, my idea was to ply these together to pop more, and you can see there's a little bit of blue in there. As I started spinning them, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm feeling this the same. So what did I do? I spun some samples, and you all can tell me. I think I have decided which one I like, but I'll let you all see. So here's one of them. This is them actually plied with each other, right? So there's the blue, and I didn't steam this yet, but I can show you there are going to be parts where there is kind of the browns and reds. Let's see if I can, that are plied on each other. And then there's going to be parts where there is just the blues plied on each other. And that's going to be a lot more minimal than the reds. And so I did this ply back sample, and I was like, I don't know. I actually think that I do like it. But then I did a chain ply, and I think this is my winner. Let me open it up. And probably I would just then ply the blue bobbins on each other and have a nice blue, beautiful blue skein. But look at how nice those colors are just in the solid. Now, the only thing I don't know if I love, these are going to be pretty short repeats on the colors. But I don't know. I think I like this better. Let me put them side by side for you all, laid out like this. Although this one is fun, I just don't know. And probably, quite honestly, these will go for sale anyway. But what do you all think? Which one do you like better? Okay, I'm curious. All right, you all, I had to insert because I steamed those 2 samples. Yes, I'm out walking my dogs because that's what I do when I'm not working, I feel like. Anyway, I steamed those 2 samples of yarn, and I'm going to put a picture here. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, but the chain plied yarn, just of the 3 solids, would make such a beautiful traveler, wouldn't it? Andrea Mowry's traveler cowl. So we'll see. I'm still not 100% decided, so I'm still looking for your comments, but it would make a nice traveler. So if you haven't looked at that pattern, take a peek. Tell me what you think. All right, let me know what you all think, because I thought one way and then I asked Mitch what he thought and he went the other way with those samples. He actually liked the multicolor and I kind of do too. I don't know. Okay, let me know your thoughts. Comment. Okay, what's happening at the mill? So speaking of socks, I meant to bring a sock sample, but I forgot. So here we are. I have been working on Prineville, which is Border Leicester woolen mohair that I designed for socks. Back when I was making sock yarn at the mill, I came up with this. I did it as a 3-ply because the more plies you have, the stronger your yarn's going to be, which for socks is important, right? Because they're going to get a lot of wear and a lot of friction. They're also going to be nice and warm. And I added a little extra twist because, same thing, a little extra twist is going to make the socks a little bit stronger. And there you go. So it's a Border Leicester wool, which I picked on purpose because it's a pretty hardy wool. It's a bit of a longer staple length, meaning that you're going to add a little extra twist. You're going to get a nice sturdy yarn and you're going to get less pilling. I also added the mohair because mohair was taking the place of a lot of nylon that's in socks, especially if you're spinning for socks or if you buy yarn. There's nylon in it, and mohair is a great natural substitute. Also adds a little luster. Can't beat that. If you're spinning it, the mohair makes it a dream, extra dream to spin, although Border Leicester is lovely to spin by itself. So I have been working on, obviously I don't make the yarn anymore, but I can show you some of the yarn that I made just so you get an idea. So we have got the natural white, which I hadn't done natural white before. I don't know why, but I fell in love with this. Okay, so here is the natural white. Of course, I lost all light in the mill because it's now pouring down rain, but natural white. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to tell the difference because it got so dark in here. So this is white. There's a little flecks here and there of some gray mohair because I think the white fleece that I used for the mohair had, you know, it's kind of silvery white. And so there's a little, okay. Then here, okay, you can tell the difference. This is the Just a Touch. So this is white Border Leicester with a silvery gray mohair compared to, oh yes, you can tell. So these are in stock in the online shop. They are so dreamy to spin. And remember, if you're gonna spin for socks, you can also spin. I have spun this into a 2-ply worsted weight. And for me, it was next to skin. One of my favorite cowls is made out of it. I talked about it in a recent newsletter. And I've done socks. And remember, you don't have to spin a 3-ply fingering weight sock yarn. You could spin a 2-ply if you want. Put a little extra twist in that yarn for sure. But if you're never gonna get through the 3-plies, then do a 2-ply, but just add a little extra twist. You could also do a 3-ply worsted weight yarn and make socks out of it. There are no rules, there are no rules. There are patterns on Ravelry for doing heavier weight yarns. You don't have to. When you're knitting socks, I also say avoid merino and fine wools because those are shorter staple length. They're gonna pill on you more and they're not that strong as far as wools go. So let me just show you really quick. Here is just a touch, and it's gonna be pretty similar to this spun up. And this I did on my commercial spinner, but it has the most beautiful luster. And it takes dye beautifully. Don't forget, we've got those abundant earth dyes, so if you're nervous about dyeing, look at that. And you can see that beautiful shine there. I made socks. This was the contrast, the toes and the heels, and this was the mane. So anyway, if you have interest, it's Prineville, it's Border Leicester mohair. Prineville because that's where I came up with, I bought my first batch of Border Leicester in Prineville, Oregon. So that's where that came from in the online shop. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'm also working through fleeces. That's what's happening at the mill right now. Is that all I wanted to say about socks? I feel like it is. I'm gonna have a few pointers on spinning for socks in my newsletter that comes out tomorrow. If you're not on the newsletter, go to my website. A pop-up will show up and you can get, or up at the top now, you can actually join the newsletter there too. Speaking of, no, we got through the socks. I think the only other thing I'm working on here at the mill is fleeces. Fleeces. Trying to work through some Shetland fleeces so they don't build. I actually have found 2 Shetland fleeces of my flock that had not been washed from sometime in the last year. So those are getting washed now and they'll show up. One of them I think I'm gonna blend with silk, which will be gorgeous. And one I think I'm gonna blend with Cuddlebugs Pygora. So get on the newsletter list because they get pretty quick notice on these things. Okay. Sorry you all, I don't know if I have a cold or if my allergies turned into a little bit extra sinusy because it's tree allergy time here. And before this rain started, my allergies were hitting hard. So trying to work through that. Sitting in the wool mill does not help necessarily because of all the particulates of everything. But we're here because I love it. Okay, I do have some new yarns really quickly to show you from Utopia. So let me go grab them. Okay, yes, let's show you really quickly because I always forget about the new colors of mohair silk that I have in. And then we'll go finish up with the mill videos and the skirting video and we'll get out of here. Okay, quickly, we have a little restock in the Twilight. This I am obsessed with. This is the shiitake and it's kind of a light browny tan color. I really lost light. Holy cow, that's the cypress. Beautiful green. Monet's Lilies is a little bit different this time and it's more on the green side. Beautiful. Watch out for this one, you all. Look at that blue. This is Blue Whale. And one more new one is Aspen. And, oops. So there's some of the new colors that are in stock in the mohair silk. Beautiful. I should mention, I did not knit this top. I know everybody will ask, it looks like a Kate Fawcett. It is not, although I'm sure it's a knockoff that a bigger brand put out in the 80s. It's amazing. I got it at a thrift store. Okay, let's go watch some videos on what's going on at the mill. So carding and picking out some of the Prineville and then fleece skirting. It's a Shetland fleece, David Rose, big. And I think then I'll come back and we'll say our goodbyes. All right, I will see you in a minute. Enjoy. All right, I do not have my microphone, so hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Okay, but I wanted to get one fleece in for you all. I've skirted one or two, and this is David Rose's fleece. It's very large for what I'm used to, and I can see right here, well, you can see that big chunk of hay. I'm just gonna yank it out because I can see it. I can tell this is probably neck just by what is coming off here. So I'm gonna roll this out, and I think that's another one. So this is the cut side that is showing, but I'm gonna flip it. As you probably noticed in the video, I am not an expert roller. I just like grab and go just to get out of the shears away. So, unless it's very rainy and chilly today, so probably won't be out here for too long with you all. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how one of these fleeces looks on the inside. I'll do some more as I keep going through them. But first I'll just go through the edges. And you can see, I have said this before in other skirting videos, I don't really care which end is I don't try to identify like this is the top, this is the bottom. As I'm skirting, it will become obvious. Like I can see britch wool down here. And actually, it's in pretty good shape. Some of the ones I've done so far, what I've done, a lot of times on these Shetlands, if I was shearing them twice a year, I could save the belly wool because it's not that worn. Because of course the belly wool is just dragging along the ground, especially as it gets longer. Their bellies are just hitting all the mud and everything else that can come along. So it gets really worn. And this year, because I let them go to a year, the belly is quite long. And I'm going along and just picking out second cuts, cleaning up the edges where there could be some felting, which has happened a little bit with these fleeces. This is actually really probably the cleanest one that I have skirted. When you get to the neck area, you'll see lots of VM. So I know this was the back end of him because this is all britch wool back here. Kind of the stuff that's on their legs and by their butts. So it picks up extra stuff. So most of the time, the immediate stuff I'll toss. And then I just look at it. Like this year, I'm kind of taking the belly wool and I'm setting it aside in a separate bag because I want to see how it washes up. It's dirty, but it's still strong. So I pull some of the britch wool off and I'll show you all so you can see how dense that britch wool is. And it's got some, it's just got the stuff in it. And some of it I'll keep, some of it, and I'll put it in that questionable pile and wash it and see what it looks like. Some of that rougher stuff you can, do more like weaving yarn with. Because, if you wanted to do a heavier knot next to skin wool with it. So, not that all weaving is done with wool like that, but it's a good place for it. So I just go along and pick out this, and I'll show you kind of in comparison, like here's a nice non-birch wool chunk. And so I'm just gonna, there really isn't that much, honestly. And what I've been doing with the other fleeces is I've been pulling bits. I don't leave them intact because I don't care. They're gonna go in the washer. So it doesn't matter to me if they are intact. So I'm gonna pull a big chunk off, and then what I do, this is a lovely thing to do, and I'll see if I can get it on video here without messing up too much. I'll just take it and give it a good shake out. So any second cuts that happened, any VM that I can possibly have fall out here, that's what I'm gonna do. There actually isn't, I haven't gotten to the neck yet, but this fleece is pretty clean. There's gonna be some, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick this batch back in the bag. So I just kind of work in chunks. The first time I tried to do a fleece, of course, I was feeding my sheep in more like hanging things from the wall, hanging feeders, and it was just, oh, there was so much VM. So I can see, and sorry, I didn't change you guys. Oops, make you all sick. There's a lot more VM in this area, and that's gonna kind of be the neck area. A lot of times I'll just pull that because, quite honestly, it's just easier than trying to take out, if it's a really heavy VM, it's just easier to take that chunk out because you're not going to get that VM out. And we're coming up this kind of chesty area. So I'm just going to take another piece off and I'll give it a good shake. And here's a spot that's a little bit weathered. So this is like not really salvageable, and it's full of EM and it's a little bit felted. So that goes into the waste pile. But I'll just go through. Let me show you a little bit of belly because we've got some belly here and it's pretty. There's a lot of stuff picked up on it. This is belly. So you can see how much just stuff off the ground it picked up. It's just a lot more weathered. I'll pull some out. You can see how it's got quite a bit of dirt in there. Still strong though. So what I'll do for this sheep, I'm gonna pull around it. Some of that I'm just gonna let go of. And I'm gonna pull, that's gonna get shaken. We will pull quite a bit of this. It's pretty heavy in VM and it's pretty worked. And this was kind of the stomach stuff. So it'll make great compost or it'll make a great mulch. And then some of this other stomach stuff that's not quite so weathered, I'm gonna pull and I'm gonna add it into my, like, wash it on its own pile. And then I'll just go through the rest of them. You can save whatever you want of a fleece. You know, they say throw britch wool out, throw stomach out, throw all that stuff out. Totally up to you. It's your fleece if you buy one. And it may take a little more work, or it may be waste. It's just up to you. Anyway, so this is kind of our, you can see, let me pull a nice staple out of here so you can see what David did. Here is a David staple. This is kind of standard of what I'm getting. I'd say about 6 inches. My hand is about 6 inches long. So anyway, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna finish the rest of this. I'm gonna give it some shakes. It's a really lovely fleece. I didn't show but you kind of, hopefully you can hear that. That's kind of the ping test to say it's healthy, it's not breaking on me, and this fleece is a go. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Okay, we are doing some Prineville blend, which is Border Leicester. Sorry, the white is Border Leicester. This is the mohair, and we are going to be, I'm doing the Just a Touch color. I've already done a white, natural white mohair and white fiber, so all natural white, which I had never done before. And I designed this fiber to be, when I used to spin yarn, this was the fiber that I designed for a good sock yarn, and also to be spun into a good sock yarn, because the mohair, the Border Leicester, is a nice hardy wool, but still fairly soft. And this is beautiful Border Leicester. And the mohair adds extra strength. It takes the place of what would normally be, move these things off of here because they're rattling. It takes the place of what would usually be nylon in socks. So it's just a good, strong fiber. It's a warm fiber, and it also has the perk of adding some beautiful luster. And in this chance, it'll add just a touch of gray to this fiber. So I'm picking now, and I'm just putting the Border Leicester on the bottom like I usually do on the feeder, on the feed, into the picker. Border Leicester I put on the bottom, and then I put the mohair I put on the bottom. Spot's a little bit felted, which happens. I am lucky enough to get my mohair already washed, and she does a great job, but that chunk is not gonna go. So we'll throw out the piece that's already. So I put the mohair on the bottom, and then the Border Leicester I just put on top, just so that the Border Leicester is less likely to get caught up in these front rollers on my picker. And I'm blending here. So I'm blending and I'm picking at the same time. Gotta love multitasking. Okay, let's go ahead and check it out on the other end. Okay, so we are all carded up, and I'm gonna try to open this and let you all take a peek. Oops, I can get around everything. And here is our, it's so beautiful, Border Leicester mohair. And basically now, because this has, it's pretty humid in the building, but because this has a fair amount of mohair in it, I am actually going to condition it because mohair likes to static up as well as some of the other fibers, more than wool, just depending. So I am gonna just pull some of this, and I'm kind of pulling from the top and the bottom so that I'm just continuing to blend it. And then I'm going to condition. Hopefully you all can see. Let me turn so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. But I'm just going to condition this fiber. I've got specific conditioner that is for animal fibers. And I'll just give it a good spritz. And this is just how I do it. I'm sure there's other people I've seen just like spray it straight into wherever they've got their fiber sitting. I am a little bit of a perfectionist about stuff, so I spray it into the bucket and then I give it a good, because I want it to move around in the fiber, not just be kind of what I sprayed on top there. And I don't want to stop my picker, so I just do it this way. Just spray it and then just kind of move it through the fiber. And then I like to let it sit for a bit, because you want the conditioning, just like when we condition our hair, you want this conditioner to soak into the fibers, and it helps cut down on static. Also cuts down on knots and things like that the same way it does in our hair. So I'll go through, finish the rest of this, let it sit, and then we will card it. Okay. All right, I hope you enjoyed what was going on behind the scenes back there in the mill. And just a reminder, if you are thinking about learning to hand spin, or you have a wheel that is lurking in the corner collecting dust, my course is available online now. Q&A sessions are going to be starting up. I think I have one scheduled for the first week of March, maybe the second week of March, where it'll be a live Q&A. You can come to it live. You'll get invited to several of these if you join the online course, or you can enter into my Patreon community at the $5 a month level. There are more, but it'll get you access to these Q&As, which are gonna be great for answering questions about your hand spinning. So if you are watching my spinning section and you are a spinner and you're like, what the heck is she talking about? The Q&As may really help, where I can dive a little bit deeper and answer your questions live, or you can email me them. So check out the Patreon page. There will be a link in the show notes. I think we have covered it. If you like what I'm doing here, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, because I love the comments so much, and tell all your friends, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, for enjoying what I'm doing, and until next time, stay healthy. Stay healthy, be kind to everybody around you, and make so many pretty things. I will see you very soon. Thank you. And Wish says thank you too. There she is.